Conversations with my ex. Yes, it had to end. Dated for 5 years. Now we really good friends. Conversations with my ex. Talking love and life. The dating ins and outs. Sharing some dope advice. We gon' keep it honest. Never hold back with my comments. I done learned a thing or two. So we gotta talk about it. You'll be laughing and vibing. Come through and connect. Never know what to expect. Conversations with my ex. Hey.
Welcome back to Conversations with My Ex. We are on episode 7, which feels great to say. Obviously, I knew we would get to this point, but it feels like it's going by quickly. Like
it's
really
going
quickly.
by very, very quickly.
Like we're almost at 10, like so fast.
Mm-hmm. Insanity. How does it feel that it's your last day in your 20s?
Feels weird. I try not to think about it too much. I'm super excited for tomorrow, though. So obviously,
So what are
if you
your
guys listen to our,
plans? I haven't even heard your plans. What are the plans?
we talked about it on the last podcast that we posted.
You know me. I have bad memory.
Yeah, you have the worst memory of all time.
You're doing golfing with the guys. You're going to 2 golf courses.
Yes. So you remember?
And then you're doing two prime rib situations.
No, that's on Saturday.
Oh.
That's for my Saturday. I have a golf tournament in the morning, then the wedding at night, and I have prime rib for both.
So tomorrow is just golfing all day and dinner.
Probably, I would assume that we're probably doing something afterwards because the second golf time's at 1:30. So my guess is it's probably going to be food and drink after. I would have to assume.
Go somewhere cool or like the brewery or something. I feel like the brewery.
I mean, I'll have to go home and shower though because I'll be definitely sweaty from all day. But anyways, today's episode, we're going to talk about social media a bit and how that relates to relationships.
Yeah, this is a really big topic. Like there's a lot of good topics that could come out of this one topic. So you started off.
Well, my thought process on this is I feel like as a guy versus a woman, it's going to be very interesting to see the two different perspectives and what you think should fly and maybe what I think should fly and what shouldn't.
I feel like you and I, though, for the most part, are like
we didn't have any troubles.
We didn't have like there were like once or twice when I think something happened where there was troubles, but other than that,
yeah, because the way I look at it when it comes to social media, it's everybody has it. So it's hard to really, I don't want to say it's hard to expect your partner not to, like, I feel like today's day and age, not that anything goes, but it's a lot more loose, I would think, nowadays than it used to be. Like 5 years ago, things that would bother me wouldn't bother me so much anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just because I grew as a person and I don't have as many insecurities really pertaining to that stuff, or if it's just, I just see the landscape of where social media has gone and it makes me think like, everybody's doing it. So
I just feel like there's stages to like how women react. Cause like, I feel like I'm a very laid back social media person. Like I really don't, when it comes to like my partner, like obviously I'd like to be posted. Like I think that that's nice. I think that that's part of my love language because I like to post a lot. That doesn't mean you need to post as much as me. But if you know that I appreciate a post here and there, then it's thoughtful for you to do that. But it's not something that's necessary for me. And like, I just know some girls that make that such a big deal. And then also like, I don't really also care if you like girls' pictures and this and that. And when it becomes a point where it's like a pattern with someone or like it's like something that's like a red flag, then it's like a problem for me. But otherwise, like you can like a girl's photo, like you can follow influencers, like you can like I don't think that that's such a big, because I'm pretty secure in myself. And like there's some guys on Instagram that I like to peep that are influencers that are hot that I'm clearly only following because I think they're attractive.
Yeah.
I'm not going to unfollow all of them just because I'm dating somebody.
Yeah. So let's talk about that then. Because I think everybody has, like you just alluded to a little bit briefly, that everyone has the expectation of what their partner should post. Like you said, I think a lot of it pertains mainly to how often your partner posts you on social media. And I know, like you said, you're not over the top where you want it to happen all the time, but every once in a while you like it. In other words, saying like, hey, I'm
That's what you
proud
would
of
do. That's what
I'm
you would do.
proud of this.
You're not
What?
somebody that posts much, but like I think
No.
you also realize that that's something that I appreciated, and you were always good
Yeah.
about. And you always put something thoughtful in the caption. Like you definitely were. Like you would make like a few posts a year of me.
Yeah, but here's my thought process here. So you're right. I learned that at a certain point because I don't think at first, because I don't really care so much if I'm posted on social media with my partner, that it wasn't that big of a deal in my mind that I
Mm-hmm.
post my partner until I realized, okay, you were someone who liked that. Not that you were like demanding, hey,
No.
show me off. But I do, as I get older, I do understand like the trade-off of saying like, hey, it's not so much that I want to force you to post me or that I need to have a particular amount of posts per year of me on your
I need
Instagram.
this amount of posts, a
Yeah.
weekly stipend of posts. Like,
Yeah. So
no, that's
it's not
insane.
to that level. But what I did understand is I get the psychology behind it, and it's not a secure thing or an insecure thing. I think what it comes down to is everybody likes to feel a level of importance, especially feeling a level of importance coming from someone that is super important to you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like, hey, when you post your partner, I'm showing off, not that you own them, but I'm showing off this person that's really important to me to the world. And I'm showing that, hey, I'm proud to be associated with this
Yeah,
person.
I'm not scared to let the world know like I'm committed to this
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, which I think at first I never looked at it that way. Definitely younger me was always like, what is the big deal? I don't get it. Because I'm, like you said, I'm not someone who posts a lot on social
Yeah.
media.
No,
I
you
go
don't
through
post a lot
I
on
go
social
through
media.
I go through like waves of, okay, I'm posting all the time versus I'm not posting. And I just sometimes I don't feel like my stuff is that interesting to where people need, like, my life, in other words. Like, I don't really plaster my life out there because I don't like,
I do.
I'm
Follow
like, people don't
me
want to see
at
that.
Ayesha Moyne, public. I've only had to go private a few times because people try to impersonate me and claim that I'm selling, solicited, not solicited.
Well, yeah, it would be solicited.
Would it be
but,
solicited?
well, solicit would be more or less like you're trying to sell.
Okay.
So
Well,
yes, it would
they
be
were claiming, yeah. Okay.
expletive.
So I used that
Expletive.
right. So I used that right. Good for me.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be like OnlyFans content or claiming to be
No. Yeah.
OnlyFans
Yeah. Yeah.
content to be solicited.
Yeah.
But nowadays, the crazy thing about that is when someone impersonates someone on social media, because I shouldn't say almost everyone, but it seems like almost everyone has one, that
Mm.
people actually go, this might be real. I think, why wouldn't they? Everyone else is doing it, type thing. So I guess I could understand why that would be a problem.
So
Versus,
I think we should get into each category of like social media apps that are like, so like start with Snapchat, do Instagram, and talk about a few things because I want to start off with Snapchat because
Okay.
I remember that was something that kind of like when we started dating got you a little bit insecure because like I constantly used Snapchat. I was Snapchatting all my guy friends. They would Snapchat me back. Like, and like when we first started initially dating, I remember like you made like later on you made a comment like it was something that definitely like, I had to get used to. So I think that that's interesting.
yeah. So I can actually give you the whole lowdown on this, at least from my perspective and why I was like that. So I think just like the way we talked about in one of our episodes about being a product of our environment and how our parents can do certain things. Well, past relationships can also
Mm,
play a big role in how you operate in the future relationship. So
yep.
I mean, my past relationship before you was in high school, so that's not like a serious. I don't find that to be super
You guys
serious.
dated for a few years though, no?
Like a year and a half.
Okay.
It just felt longer because we were younger.
I don't know why. I just feel like she's more important maybe than she is because of Lexi. Because you got Lexi
Maybe.
with her.
Lexi's my dog, by the way, in case anyone didn't know. I don't have like a child.
It's his daughter, Lexi.
It's my dog. But then again, we only had her for 6 months before we went skibadoo.
That's like, so you guys were only dating for like 6 months ish, and then you were like, let's get a dog together.
Maybe it was.
So it was more than a year, huh?
It might have been close to 2, but
I'm not even good at math, and I'm noticing this timeline is off.
Listen, it was probably like a year and a half to 2 years, somewhere in there. But there was some on and off in there a little bit. But I almost was like trained because in high school I was friends with everybody. So I had friends that were girls. I had obviously friends that were guys. But I think social media was still very much in its infancy there. Like Facebook
Yeah.
was really the thing. There wasn't really a Snapchat.
MySpace.
MySpace is already on its way out. But I think it was probably right around when I graduated that Snapchat really became a thing.
Yeah.
And I think at the time, maybe because it was in high school, there was tons of insecurities on her side there. So I was almost trained that, like, if you're in a relationship, you don't really have too many, like, why do you need girlfriends if you have a girlfriend? If that makes sense.
She seemed, just based off of like what you told me about her, she seems like the type of person that's a little controlling and like overthinks a lot of things and really needs to know like the details.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's like, again, there's levels to this shit. Like there's girls that are more laid back and don't need a play by play of what you're doing every day. And then there's other girls who literally need to know everything. And if things slip through the cracks, like shit's getting real.
Yeah, I can give you another example too. You get trained and then you almost base any experience after that off of that until you learn. So, like, a lot of that was a problem at the beginning of our relationship because I needed to unlearn what I learned from that relationship, which was this person constantly needed me to answer a text within 5 minutes, or I get, why aren't you answering me? Why aren't you doing this? And then with you, you're not on your phone all the time doing all that stuff and texting back right away. So for me, it was like, what is going on? I'm so trained to expect an immediate text. And then when I don't get one, it's, I'm a little confused right now. So
yeah, because I'm a horrible texter, and Jared was someone that definitely was like on top of the texting, and like I would go hours without texting back because I was in the middle of classes, you know. And sometimes like I'm the type of person too that will like go on social media and like still just forget about my messages. So like I'll like post something on Instagram and like not respond to your text, but I promise like it was never intentional. It was literally me either thinking that I responded and forgot, or just like, you know, saying I would get back to it and never did.
Well, that's something I learned. See, that's the other thing with going through a relationship is you have a certain, this goes back to all types of expectations and even social media. I will actually throw texting into kind of like a social media expectation. Is you have an expectation, but you learn, right? That can kind of not delete that expectation, but put that expectation at ease a little bit or put it into context a little bit more. I learned that you weren't someone who read a text and ignored it, because I think at first I was always like, well, she's on social media, so she's not seeing my text come in. But then when we would hang out and you would be on social media, even when your friends would text you, it'd do the drop down, you'd scroll it back up, and then you would just never remember to go back to the text message. So, and I do that sometimes now where I'll be talking to friends and it'll be like 3 days later and I'll go to like send another text. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't answer the last text message. Because sometimes I answer it in my head when I'm in the middle of something, or I read it and I go, all right, I'll type back in 10 minutes and then completely forget about it or think I answered in my head. And then that's all she wrote.
So, and then also the thing that I remember about Snapchat was the best friends that you would get. The 3 best friends, like your top.
They don't really do that anymore, right?
They remove that feature.
Probably because a lot of people are getting in trouble.
They removed that feature, and only you can see who's your, you know, top 3. I just remember that, like my high school sweetheart would make that a big deal. Like he'd be like, why is that your top person? And I'll be like, is it? Like, are you really?
Yeah. It was like MySpace top friends. Remember when you had to put like your top 5 and then people get all salty if they weren't in your top 5?
Mm-hmm.
You realize as you get older how little that matters, obviously. But yeah, Snapchat probably removed that feature because a lot of people were getting in trouble. And they're like, people are going to stop using our app if the relationships keep ending because
literally
you really see who you're Snapchatting so frequently. It's crazy.
But I love Snapchat. I love that I can like have all my memories. God forbid something happens to Snapchat, I'm gonna lose a lot of memories that I don't have.
For me, Snapchat's like the least used for me. Like I'll use it when someone sends me something and open it.
I never use it anymore like that. I just use it to look at my memories.
Like I'll use it if like someone sends me something and I'll open it, and then I usually like whatever.
So that's cool. But I'm trying to think any other things about Snapchat that it helps a lot. I feel like with online dating though, because it gives you a chance to kind of like, see how you look and it not be like an awkward FaceTime. I feel
Yeah.
like it's a nice way to ease into getting to know that person because all we did was Snapchat when we were really getting to know each other and text.
Well, yeah. So that's what really made, I know, like, we talked about, like, not going to someone's house the first time. Obviously, we wouldn't do that now, but I think that's why that didn't feel so weird.
Yeah, because we were like talking through Snapchat every day. With,
We
like,
were texting.
pictures and yeah.
Yeah. So it was a little bit of both. But yeah, you're right. But that's also a red flag, like you said, with online dating, is if someone immediately asks for your Snapchat, you're like, all right, let's dial it back here a little bit.
Like, I much rather, and that's something that I got recently, like, when I met this guy and we went on a date, but the way he asked me out was like, my friend was like, oh, you should take her Instagram down. And he was like, no, matter of fact, I'll take her number. And I was like, ooh, that's suave. That's smooth. I like that. So
I
it's a
honestly
big
trust
difference.
Instagram more than I trust Snapchat.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a good way to ease into Instagram. Instagram is like, I think the biggest social media frenzy kind of thing when it also comes with relationships and reactions to things. And
so I and when it comes to, like, we were just touching on social media expectations, I think this whole episode's about social media, but it's probably more or less about Instagram, right? Because, like, most people aren't posting TikToks as much as they're just spending all their hours on there. And the same thing with Snapchat. Like, people don't, it's a social platform, but it's not like there's so much of a feed.
Yeah.
You know,
Instagram is just on a whole nother.
Like, if I post a story, it's on Instagram. It's not going to be on Snapchat. I'll never really post a Snapchat because I just don't, like, what's the point?
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. One thing we didn't, going backtrack, you and your friends and your psychopathic freaking like streaks.
I only have one left. I accidentally messed up like 4 of them.
Yo, he would literally
I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you what it's at right now.
Crazy amount of streaks with these guys.
The largest one I have current is 1,731 days.
And they take this shit seriously. Like, I remember when you were trying to go the streak with me, it'd be like, we're going to lose our streak. We're going to lose our streak. I'm like, oh my God, get a life.
And it's just, and it wouldn't even be like anything meaningful. I would wake up and take a picture of the carpet and just send it just to keep the number going.
Lisa,
think about how long that is. 1,700 days. That's like 4 years.
And you're still going. And you're still going.
I only have one left though because I don't know what happened. One day it just didn't. I don't know. Like the time just didn't. Whatever. So I got one left, unfortunately. But
that's still impressive.
And that was not my longest one either.
I wonder what's the longest Snapchat streak like to have ever happened.
I'm sure there's people out there who, since the day that started keeping track of it, probably never stopped Snapchatting. There
should be like a competition for that or like a reward.
I remember one of my friends, one time, him and I accidentally messed up our streak, and he contacted Snapchat to get it.
Did he get it back? Oh, he did.
Oh, yeah, it worked. They were like, oh, my bad.
So how did he advocate for himself in that situation?
I have no idea. But he's like, hey, I sent this and our snap went away. And he goes, oh, my bad. Like, Snapchat just redid the streak. Like,
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah, that they do that. But it's kind of funny that someone was like, not on my watch. And then reached out to, like, went through the trouble just so the number next to, like, our names didn't disappear.
Look.
No one else can see the streak but us.
Priorities.
Crazy.
This is priorities.
Crazy.
That's funny. So getting on to back to Instagram. Because with Instagram, it comes with the following and the liking of photos and all that. So
have you noticed that Instagram removed the feature that you can see what people you follow like? Like you can't.
Yeah, that used to fuck with me. That used to fuck with me real good.
They removed that.
Yeah, that was removed, and like I like now how you can hide your like counts. I like that. I like that feature because I feel like people get too hung up on the amount of likes that they just like that. So I'm hiding this shit.
Well, there's that, and I think that's also on their end a business decision to get people more active. Because a lot of people are afraid to post because they're like, it's embarrassing if someone's scrolling by and they see that my photo has 4 likes. So they're probably like, well, if I'm only going to get 4 likes, I'm not going to post. And their Instagram was probably thinking to themselves, what a business decision. If we hide the likes, people won't be afraid to post anymore.
No, it's smart. It's genius.
That's just what I think anyways.
It's genius. So I think that it's really weird when if I meet someone and they don't have an Instagram. I just find it like, I mean, I appreciate the no social media, but to me, it's just like there's something wrong with you. So how do you feel if like you met someone and they didn't have an Instagram?
I think
You probably have, but
yes. There's a part of me that thinks it's at first. Well, it depends on how I met them. If I meet them in person, it's I don't care. I think it's awesome. If I meet someone like, say, I'm online dating and they don't have an Instagram, to me that's a red flag. That's kind of sketchy. That's kind of sketchy to me. And granted, not having social media is such a healthy thing. It's just when you only know someone in the digital space and then they're lacking in the digital space, it seems odd.
Yeah.
It throws me off a little bit. Like, ooh, what are you hiding? Or are you real? Are you even a real person?
Yeah, that's my thing. And like, there's a lot that you can learn from a person from their Instagram. Like a lot. Oh, yeah. Like a lot. When you go on Instagram, like just you start off with your profile little picture, your bio, then you can see your highlights, and then you go into your posts, and then you can see what posts are tagged in if they have that visible. Like it's just like you can really dive in deep, and it's kind of creepy, but I like having that ability for the most part, especially when getting to know somebody dating wise.
You like to creep on people?
I do. I'm a big creep. A big old creep. So how do you feel about like with your partner, like following people on Instagram and liking things? Like, does that bother you at all?
No, I think probably about 5 years ago it might have, but now it doesn't, because in my mind, I understand it from both sides. I understand how the insecurity can happen where, oh my God, these people that you're liking are way better looking than I am, or they have. Granted, we look at every other person and only see what they have that we don't, not what we have that they don't. So it's already skewed as it is. But I think especially when it comes to like your partner and, following people and liking certain people, I used to look at that, like care about that stuff. I don't anymore because let's face it, we're all human beings. You can look at somebody, and I'm saying influencers aside, even if it's people that like it's one thing to look at someone and be like, they're attractive and whatnot. It'd be stupid if you're in a relationship and you both see someone walking down the street to not both be like, hey, that person's attractive, or get mad at your partner for looking at someone of the opposite sex that's really attractive. It's human nature. You're not going up to them, grabbing their ass and having a conversation with them. You know what I mean? Like
to me, there's like different parts. So like, it doesn't bother me. I'm very laid back, like I said, like when it comes to social media. It doesn't bother me when you're liking pictures and all that. But when it's like a pattern, like I said, like I think the only time that I ever had an issue with social media with you was when I was in California. And that's when you could like see like what your other followers are liking. And like I was like going through that, and like you had like been liking, and it's like it was an influencer girl, but like she wasn't like a big influencer. She was just like,
I think I remember this. It was
just like but you had like multiple pictures, like, you know what I mean, like all like kind of like at once. You could tell like you followed her, liked a shit ton of her pictures, and like you had even commented on stuff. Like I
never comment on anything.
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure I saw a comment.
Liking, I'll admit to, but I don't comment because it's funny because I'll make.
But she was like a life coach person, so I feel like you definitely could have maybe said something, and it could have been nothing like even flirtatious in a way, but you still did comment.
Because I remember the situation. I remember you bringing it up, and me being so confused because half the time, and I'll still do it now. Like when I'm scrolling through Instagram, I'll like photos so like subconsciously, and then I'll double tap it while I'm scrolling. And then I'll go, what's the point of liking this photo? Especially if it's like like sometimes I'll like influencer photos, and I'm not even talking about like women, like in general, just anybody in general. And I'm like, they have 1 million followers plus. Like,
I just feel like if I like the post, I like, or I'm intrigued by it, I'll like it.
Yeah. So sometimes, and a lot of times, this is me. Like scroll, double tap, like. I'm not even like taking the time to like inspect the photo. So I remember when you brought that up, and I was so confused. Not blindsided, but just confused. Like, because it was so subconscious, I actually had to go back into my Instagram to figure out who the hell you were talking about, because that's how subconscious it was. Because I was like, oh, have I been doing that? I don't remember doing that. I'll scroll through and I was like, oh yeah, I guess I did do that. Like I didn't know. Like, that's how
I
confused
don't
I
think
was.
I made it a huge deal though. Like I definitely let you know that it bothered me. And I said I was just like I didn't appreciate it, especially because I was in. I think that was also like a mixture of emotions of me being homesick, and then like dealing with the long distance. Like I don't think it was
Oh, yeah.
solely mad because of that.
No, because I didn't even know this
And then
person.
you weren't like
Nor did I
coming to
have an
visit.
Yeah, nor did I have
So
an opportunity to meet this person anyways, but
unfortunately, she was hot. But yeah, so I remember that. But other than that, I've never had issues with social media or with, I've had people who I've been with who have been possessive and like make comments about that and all that. And that's something I don't fly with that. You're not telling me what I can like, what I can post, if it's too revealing, if it's this and that. Like you should have enough trust in me and like respect that I have dignity for myself that I feel like you shouldn't make that such a big deal.
can I ask you a question though? Could piggybacking off of what you just said, your thoughts of, and I feel like this is more from a guy's perspective than a woman's perspective. I guess it could go both ways, but I think it's very rare. It's like you said, posting things that are too revealing on Instagram, because I know a lot of people have the problem where it's just like, hey, you're dating me. Why are you posting that? Isn't that stuff just for me? And then there's also the other side of it where you could be like, no, post all you want. I want people to be like, look at
She's
how,
hot. Wish she was mine.
yeah. So I think if
I
you're,
never had that issue with being too revealing. I feel like I've never been too revealing.
can you back up from the mic a little bit? All right, there you go.
I feel like I've never been too revealing. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I don't think you have been either. You've never posted anything that had me going like, I don't know about that one. Like
Yeah.
I've never had that thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of it comes down to trust in your partner. Like if they want to post, if they're in great shape and they're proud of their body and they want to post like a million bikini pics, go for it. Now, if it's every pic is just them
In
like
a
with
damn bikini.
pulling their thong up their ass cheeks and turning around being like, hey, like all right, well, it's not really an issue because if you have trust in your partner, like if they were gonna cheat, they were gonna cheat, right?
Yeah.
So them posting a revealing photo of them, I it's tough because I think this is only from the guy's side, unless you're dating someone who's absolutely ripped. But then again, even if you're dating someone who's absolutely like, no woman is going to be like jealous of their man who's super like ripped and in great shape posting a picture in a banana hammock. I don't care how good a shape you're in. If you're in a banana hammock, it's not looking good.
I'm done with you. Not the
You know,
banana hammock.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I guess this is more of a one-sided issue because how revealing can a guy be? Because if he's in good shape, he looks the same at the beach as he does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't.
But so getting into likes and following and all that, transitioning into like emotional cheating, right? For example, like flirting.
Okay.
Was there anything from Instagram that you felt like we didn't touch base on that we should?
No, I mean a lot of
Right,
it
I
just
feel like it's just
just comes down to like whether people have problems with revealing stuff, and I feel like a lot of guys do have that problem. I'm not one of them, but a lot of them do, which it's tough because I get both sides of the coin, right? I understand why you wouldn't want it to happen, but at the same time, if it makes you that insecure or you have that much trust issues,
you
I
got
feel like
something else to work on there,
yeah. Now,
bud.
granted, it's different if they're posting thirst traps and then responding to comments. Then I feel like it's different, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's say you posted a thirst trap because I don't feel like some guys can, but I don't think there's a lot of like. It's a very small like amount of dudes that can post a thirst trap photo. Like,
Yeah,
it's
unless they
just.
have like a six pack or like
I
look.
feel like I feel like you can be a 6 as a chick and still post a thirst trap. I feel like you can. I feel like you can be a 5 and dudes will still be drooling over that shit. It's just the nature of the beast.
Look.
Am I wrong?
No, I don't think so.
So that's the thing. It's just something about a woman that's in general more sexy than a man. And I understand I'm saying that as a man, but you know what I mean, like in general.
Yeah, no, I definitely get what you're saying.
You know, most dudes look almost the same. Like from like 4 to like 7, it's basically like the same number.
Yeah.
Right? From like 4 to 7, it's like one group. You might as well just be one number. You know what I mean? Like we have to rely more on our personality than our looks, I feel, as dudes.
Nah, yes and no. Yes and no.
Because I feel like you have the elite of the elite that look like, holy shit, that's that genetic over there. Like genetically, that guy got it all. And then the other ones are like, they're above average, but nothing to like Google over unless it's like their
Personality makes up for it.
personality. Where you can have like a 6, but if she dresses right and she owns it, you're like, well, hey, you can have an ugly face as a woman, but a sick body, and people are still like all over it. Where a dude with an ugly face and a sick body, they're still like, can't get past the face, man.
This is true. They could get plastic surgery, but it's just not going to do them.
But you know what I mean, right?
Justice as a female. Yeah, I
like
definitely
it's more one-sided thirst trap wise is what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
I don't think this is so much a woman's problem as it is like a man having a problem. My only issue with this is, fellas, I know there's probably not a lot of you that listen to this podcast, but fellas, get over it. If you don't have trust in your partner, that's on you.
Yeah, that's a bigger...
And if she did something to make you not trust her, then she ain't the one. So then it's still on you. That's just my opinion. I don't know. That's just my opinion. There is a fine line, I think.
Of course. And everything, right?
Yeah.
And getting into emotional cheating, like, I'm the type of person that if I go out, like, even if I do have a boyfriend, like, I like to, like, talk. If, like, a guy comes up and talks to me, like, I make it clear that I'm not interested romantically, but, like, I'll still have a conversation, or, like, if they look good, maybe a little flirtatious, but, like, to a point. So, like, how do you feel about flirting and like what constitutes cheating? For me, cheating is like if you're trying to get with a girl with an intention of doing something with her other than just having a nice conversation.
Well, I also so I think as the years went on, I've kind of developed a different opinion on this, and I'm actually curious to see if you feel the same way about this, because a lot of times you look at cheating as the physical act of cheating.
Yeah,
I think, and we'll probably I want to dive a little bit deeper into the whole flirting thing. But like you said, emotional cheating, because I feel like people toe the line sometimes of saying, I'm going to have a constant flirtatious conversation with this person as if I'm having an intellectual relationship with this person. In other words, like, it never goes past us texting and flirting through text, but I'm never ever going to do anything physical with them. I still think that kind of...
I don't think... Okay, no. So texting is one thing. I'm saying like out at a bar.
No. You're asking me about cheating. We'll get to the flirting. I'm saying, like, even if you don't intend, so like, let me ask you this. You and I are in a relationship, right? Theoretically. Yeah. And you and I have been dating for, let's say, 3 years. And all of a sudden, me and this girl kind of hit it off, but I have no intention of cheating on you physically or leaving you. But I'm texting this person when you're not around every day, and we're flirting and we're talking. No, as if we're in a relationship.
That's definitely not what I meant at all.
Well, I'm saying like emotional cheating, though. I'm not talking about flirting. I'm talking about, you asked what constitutes cheating.
Yeah.
I would still consider that cheating.
I feel like if you feel the need that you need to hide it and that you're like sneaking around about these conversations,
you shouldn't be doing it.
You shouldn't be doing it.
Shouldn't be doing it.
100% agreed.
But that I guess that's what I would constitute as cheating. Because like, I feel like people justify doing that type of thing sometimes because it's not physical.
Yeah.
And
I think once it gets past the point, like, I shouldn't be exchanging numbers with anyone. Like, no. There's one thing to be having a little flirtatious conversation at the bar. No touchiness, no nothing. You're not putting your hands on me. But if you ask me for my number, I am not giving you my number. Absolutely not. Why?
Agreed. But
what?
I feel like I agree with you though on the flirting. Because
look, you cannot live your entire life just flirting with this one person and getting something. Like, let's be real, you're going to get excitement from other people and be attracted by other people. You should be able to have a nice, adrenaline rush of a conversation, and you know what I mean? Like, it's all based on how you're going into it.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a such thing, like what we're talking about, flirting. There's flirting, and then I think when you're in a relationship, there's innocent flirting.
Yeah.
I think that's the way you have to go about it, is innocent flirting. Because if you're out with your friends and you want to flirt with some people, but like you said, there's no touchy-feely, you're not grinding on each other. Maybe you're just having a nice conversation over drinks and you're kind of like, hey, acknowledging each other in whatever way that is. Maybe he's complimenting you, you're complimenting him. That's fine, but it never really goes past that point. I feel like I'm cool with that. Granted, if you're with your partner, you're not going to do those things.
Yeah, no. This
So
is like when you're alone away from your partner.
And I want to be clear about this. When I say out of sight, out of mind, I don't mean physical cheating when I say out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
But innocent flirting at a bar when you're out with your friends and a group of guys wants to buy your guys' drinks and you're basically two like groups coming together or whatever.
Taking one for the team.
Flirt all you want, honestly. As long as, like I said, there's no like touchy-feely or even exchanging of numbers. I think I'm okay with exchanging of numbers only if like you hit it off in a different way, not in a relationship way.
Maybe it's like a job connection, or you realize that you had a mutual friend, and like I don't know, like something that's
something in common. That's like, but here's my kicker though: you have to immediately, like a lot of people would be like, even if you know it's innocent, they'd still hide that from your partner.
Yeah, I would just be like, hey, like I met this guy. Like,
you still got to talk about it because
gotta mention it.
Even if it's innocent, you're never gonna cheat. You're never even gonna emotional cheat. But you still hide texting because you're afraid of their reaction.
Then what are you hiding?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta be clear with those things, in my opinion. Anyways, That's just how I feel about it.
So I feel like I've always had a decent amount of guy friends, especially like in high school and right after like, getting. I had a lot of guy friends. So like, I don't mind my partner having girlfriends that aren't me, like in the sense of like friends that are girls.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's always situational. Like I feel like you can just tell when something is more than just a friendship.
Yeah. No, I get that. But let me ask you this though. It's one thing when they're pre-established. It's another thing, like let's say they made friends like mid-relationship. Would that bother you more? And if so, what would have to happen for you to be okay with it?
Oof, that's a tough question. I don't even know how I can answer that because I feel like I would just have to see how I feel in the moment. But I know that I'm not going to stop my partner from making friends.
Yeah,
I'll let them know.
I'll
let them know if it's making me feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
And there could be like a happy medium, you know, in between that. But I feel like I will definitely vocalize if it's making me uncomfortable.
Do you think if you like met the person, would that make you
like if we met them together?
Yeah.
Or like it's a mutual, they're friends with mutual friends.
No. I mean like let's say your partner mid-relationship met this woman and they're just friends, right? Or they're like, oh, we hit it off, like it's nothing sexual, it's not going to be any kind of thing emotional, but like maybe they have something in common. So let me paint a hypothetical scenario for you. Like me with my coaching. Like let's say I met somebody in the space, you know, and then that's the extent of the relationship is we talk about these things because we have these things in common. There's no
but that could change.
Sure.
Getting to know each other and having those conversations.
Oh, 100%. There's always that fear. But that's what I'm saying is like, how would you remedy that situation? Like, let's say you had that in the back of your mind, like, I trust my partner 100%. Like they've never given me a reason not to trust them, but yet this still makes you uncomfortable. Even if you vocalize it and they like are empathetic to you vocalizing it and, you know, offer to do whatever it does to make you comfortable, I still feel like it's unreasonable to ask another human, whether you're dating them or not to be friends with someone. So how would you think you would handle that situation?
I think I would just let it flow. Like as long as they know that it makes me uncomfortable in a certain extent, then we just have to come to a compromise. Like there's no way that one, he needs to get rid of that person, or two, I just let them hang out all the time and just, you know, act like it's not bothering me. I think there needs to be some kind of like, oh, we all hang out together, or we hang out in groups of friends.
Yeah.
Or when you guys do hang out, like it's not like a every week type thing. Like if it's like once a month or once every few months, you guys are just like catching up. Like that's, you know, I think it's like if it becomes a pattern, you're hanging out a lot and you're spending all this time together, like that's when it becomes a little sketch to me. But I don't think that there's a problem with being friends and texting here and there and catching up. I think there's just a boundary.
So okay. So that's an easy, and once again, this isn't going to be easy to answer, but that's an easy thing to say now because you can sit here and think about it logistically, non-objectively. I mean, you can not objectively. You can look at it objectively because you're just thinking about a scenario in general, not one that you're currently in. But what if you know logically that it's unrealistic to ask a human not to be friends with this person, and even though you vocalized it, you can't for some reason get over the fact that it's bugging you so bad.
So I think this is a good example because this happened with my ex. So when we started talking and like getting serious, like the other supervisor that works with him, there's 2 supervisors. He tried getting with me first, and I wasn't interested at all.
Okay.
And then I started my thing with my ex, and that other person didn't know about our relationship or anything like that because we always kept their shit on the DL because we worked in the same place. So he kept on trying to hang out, and I just tried to, and I didn't want to just ghost him because I saw him every day, so that'd be awkward. So then he asked me out like for drinks, and I was gonna be like, oh nah, I'm definitely gonna say no. And then like a day passed, and his dad died.
Ooh.
His dad died. And then he had reached out again and said like, hey, like I actually would really like, appreciate a friend right now. Like, and he was like persistent about us like grabbing drinks. But like, how am I going to say no to a guy who just lost his dad? So that was a toughie for me. And I spoke with my ex at the time and I was like, hey, like, he's hitting me up. This is what he's saying. He was the one that told me that his dad died. Like I was just like, yo, this is fucked up. Like, what am I going to do? And he was just like, I know that it bothered the shit out of him. It really did. Yeah. But he was willing to be like, you know what? Like, it's not going to it's going to bother me, but like, I'm not going to hold you against it. He was very clear that it bothered him, but he said that I'm not going to hold you against it. He was like, I just hate that. It's just, ugh. And of course, the guy tried kissing me that night after we had drinks. Oh. And I had to swerve that shit.
That nothing's worse than that, right? Someone leaning in and you going like, just dodging the head out. Because that was awkward for the rest of the night.
Yes. But luckily, that was like the end of the night. We were going to our cars. But like, he is a nice guy. Like, he is. And he's like a handsome person, like has a great job and like all that. But I'm just not attracted to him like that. I'm really not. But it was just so crazy how like they literally worked directly with each other and didn't know that like we were getting serious and then the other one's trying to get with like, and because they don't talk about that at work.
Sure. But I would say that's kind of like a niche scenario where you knew that was going to be a one-off and he knew it was going to be a one-off. So he was willing to say, that bothers the fuck out of me, but obviously I'm not going to say no, especially early on. I feel like people...
It was very early on, yeah.
Yeah. People are more okay with leeway early on because they don't want to come off as too overbearing or overprotective.
And he was never like that either. He was never like that. He was never overbearing and like
but you weren't long enough for that to kind of kick in. I'm sure at some point it does because we all have our things that make us feel uncomfortable or insecure, and a lot of us are afraid to be vulnerable with our partners because we feel like it's gonna make them think less of us. And it, on the contrary, to me, I feel like I would think more of you if you were more open and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. I don't like that this bothers me, but for some reason it does. Can you help me through this? Right? That you would respect that a lot more than me trying to hide the fact that I'm insecure and then just being like, I don't want you to do that. To me, you're just like, well, that guy's just an asshole, versus being like, hey, I know it shouldn't bother me, but it really does. Mm-hmm. And I hate that it bothers me. I don't want it to bother me, but I can't get past the fact that emotionally, this is killing me. Mm-hmm. You'd be like more apt to be like, oh, let's make this work, versus if I was trying to tell you not to do something.
Yeah. And I think that's and that would be my major takeaway from this entire episode. It's like, one, you two need to communicate. This is like, sounds so cliche, but like you really do need to communicate with each other on these kinds of things and what bothers you and what doesn't bother you and how to like navigate through it all. And let your person breathe. Like, let them have a life. Let them do their thing. You don't need to be involved in everything. You don't need to be stalking and seeing whose pictures they're constantly liking and this and that. Just the less you know, the better.
Yeah.
Seriously, the less you know, the better. And as long as it's not affecting your relationship and they're not cheating on you, I think you got to just let that social media shit slide. I do think when it comes to your partner is never posting anything of you and they know genuinely that that's something that you like and would like and want, that might be a red flag to me that they're hiding something.
But I think you also need to have that conversation.
And you need to have that conversation. And you have to be willing also to change habits, not completely change them, but tweak habits so that your partner feels comfortable. And it goes both ways. You both have to come to some common ground, happy medium.
Yeah, no, I agree, especially when it comes to that that bit about posting, because you're right. You need to speak up and say something if it's something that means a lot to you, but they don't post often and they're not doing it, because it's not. I'm on the idea of, let's say you want them to post a lot and they're not doing it, and that not offends you but hurts you, and then you get mad at that person. I don't think that's fair either. You need to vocalize it, because it's unfair, in my opinion, even if they're not doing it and you think that they should know. Mm-hmm. Like, forget whether you think they should know or not.
Nobody's
if you've never had if you should be like, I gave this person all the context clues in the world and they're not figuring it out. How about you avoid this whole situation by not expecting anyone to figure out a puzzle? Like, make it less challenging.
The one thing that I will rebuttal on that is, I agree what you're saying 100%. But when you also have to explain certain things that should be known, like as a man, like I shouldn't be telling you how to treat a woman. Like, I'm talking like basic fundamentals.
Well, yeah,
that's the kind of stuff that I shouldn't have to vocalize. That it should just be, okay, this is how it should be. And if if you don't think that way, then but when it gets to more specifics and things that are really bothering you and you're not mentioning that, then,
that's kind of on you too, right? It's on them, but it's also on you. I don't think, no, and I agree. I mean, just like anything else, there's gray area, right? It's not all black and white, but there's that gray area of like, I don't find it fair that even if you think they should know that this is something that you want, if you've never had that conversation, it's unfair to punish that person.
Of course.
Now, if you've had the conversation, they're still not doing it, then you have some cause for pause, and you should actually have that conversation with them and be like, hey, we've talked about this. And it's not like, don't feel like you're busting someone's balls, because first of all, don't go into that conversation angry and busting their balls. Go into it as lighthearted as possible. Because if you go at somebody from the sense of like you're busting them and they feel like they're being attacked, they're going to get defensive. They're not even going to listen to what you're saying. They're just going to find all the reasons why you're wrong and they're right, and vice versa, and nobody wins in that situation. You need to be able to openly communicate in the sense of like, hey, listen, we've talked about this. This means a lot to me. Is there a reason why you're not doing it? And come at it. And you may feel like, oh, I shouldn't give that person, the gentleness there because we've talked about this. But if you want your relationship to work and you want it to last, you need to do things that you're not doing. Yeah. You need to do you need to be gentle with your delivery. Even if you think the person's being an asshole, they're going to be more of an asshole if you're like, I'm going to meet your asshole with asshole.
Yep.
If you call someone out for being an asshole and you do it in an asshole way, they're going to respond in an asshole way. It's just the way it goes.
And I think that's where we should end it. Like,
boom. Too many assholes.
Yeah, for real.
Never said asshole so much in my life.
Again, thank you guys so much for supporting. And we're not going to keep on thanking at the end of each episode, because then it kind of gets a little redundant. But thanks so much. And we're very excited for the next episode. Jared this is his last day he's going to be in his 20s. So cheers to that.
Cheers to that. And actually, by the time this goes live, I would have been in my 30s for almost a week. So,
whoa.
Yep.
Wowza. All right.
Well,
thanks,
we
guys.
appreciate it. Like, review, subscribe, download, whatever you got to do. But if you enjoy the episode, just reach out, let us know. We love it.
Ciao.
Thanks for listening. Later.
Conversations with my ex. Yes, it had to end. Dated for 5 years. Now we really good friends. Conversations with my ex. Talking love and life. The dating ins and outs. Sharing some dope advice. We gon' keep it honest. Never hold back with my comments. I